Okay, so take one of my TED Talk. Okay, so my topic is you can be a human trafficker and not know it, and I'm going to tell you how. I think every topic in creation has been talked about in a TED Talk, but I haven't found a video on this one, or a talk on this one. So, we're going to tell you how it goes. I'm gonna say that disclaimer. I don't think this happens to everybody, but it's all too common, and I don't know if it's getting less or more common. But what happens is, just a minute. See, originally my TED Talk was going to be you can be human trafficked and not know it, and I was gonna explain that, and I never got around to it. So instead of talking about what was that? Oh, instead of being human trafficked, you can take it a step further and even be a human trafficker and not know, and actually be human trafficking what you think are your children, but come to find out they're not your children at all. That's sad. There's something going on. People don't really, I don't think it's common knowledge, and I don't know how widespread it is, but it started back in the 80s. Started California, some LA people, some underground people decided that parents didn't care about their children. Don't know how they came up with that. Maybe some things happened to some children, and the parents didn't seem to care, and the parents sided with the perpetrators instead of the children. So they're like, we can't believe these parents don't care about their children. Even though the perpetrators were the ones that hurt the kid, then the parents found out, and then they're like, the parents didn't even care. So then, human trafficking has come a long way in the last, going on 4 decades, late 80s. 80, 88, 89, like a lot of the high-profile kidnappings that happened back in the 80s were linked to this group of people who made the assessment that, so originally, before the human trafficking started, well, it was kidnapping. They'd just go take the kids thinking, cry a river, because you really don't care anyway. And then they got a little more devious, and they started to be like, you know what? If you look at all the kids, say for just take nationwide, for example, America, and they're like, oh my goodness, this kid over here on this side of the United States and this kid over here on this side of the United States, they look so much alike. You could take them and you could swap them out, and the parents aren't going to know. Because also in the 80s was the switched at birth, whenever, for example, in the hospital, the nurseries, once in a while, babies would get switched. There was, I remember, an 80s movie about, they found out, like, when the children were adults, like, oh my goodness, we got switched in the nursery. Who knows how it came out, but my point is that they started doing it kind of like nobody talked about it. Like, they put the nurseries and hospitals locked down. You don't hear about it anymore. And you hear about a lot of missing people, but I don't know if kidnapping is just so commonplace now that nobody thinks a thing of it, or what's going on. But the missing person pandemic is one thing. But swapped at birth, okay, a lot of babies look very similar at birth. Everybody knows, like, they weigh about the same, have about the same amount of hair, just little baby dolls, doll babies. And then once in a while, there's one that looks a little different than outliers, a little bigger, a little smaller, a little more hair, maybe bald, etc., on and on. But children, like they say, 0 through 10, probably the earlier start they get, the better. As far as the human traffickers, the earlier start the human traffickers get, the better. And then they just swap them out. And then until they find a third kid. This kid looks just like this kid. We're gonna switch them. And then this kind of like is coupled with the missing person, but a lot of times a person can be missing and nobody knows. For example, they take one child and put the child over here, and then they take this look-alike child and put the child where this child was. Well, the parents or the caretakers of the child do not know that their child is missing because they have an exact replica. And I don't really know, like, you might think it's kind of weird, but like, this is not the same. This child is like, doesn't look exactly the same, doesn't act exactly the same. I don't know. There's different. That's one way it's done, and then or they replace them with clones of the babies, or the third option. The whole manufactured human industry is booming, which is I guess clones, but not exactly. And then there's a whole bunch of other ways that they can replicate a human to look exactly the same. But so basically, you're not intentionally human trafficking your children, but you are caretaking a child. You have a child in your custody that is not yours, that is possibly a missing person. Possibly parents are dead. Possibly there's a million scenarios because it's all too common. And then and people have no idea what's going on. No idea until it comes to their attention.